Well, that's a wrap. After 23 hours of live content for you, honestly, and me, I got to watch all of it. I've got cards strewn everywhere as I spent the last 2 days moderating these chats, moderating these streams. And, you know, it's so much fun to do this every year. It's a lot of work, obviously. I'm not going to deny that oh well, this just comes together. It honestly does because of the efforts of the great content creators that are out there. They're the ones that are really doing it, the hard lift, heavy lifting, so to speak. Um, I want to, give a special shout out to Ty who put the website together. I mean, this takes a village, right? This doesn't happen this type of an event doesn't happen without so many people being a part of it. I mean, obviously, all the content creators that agreed to do it, which, oh, by the way, was super easy to fill. And the fact that we had it here on the Bench Clear channel hopefully was easier for people. That was our thought. That was the feedback we had gotten over the last couple of years. I'm trying to keep up with the chat a little bit too. But Ty actually it was in a baseball tournament for his oldest son, Jackson. Great kid. He was at a baseball tournament in Washington State. So Ty wasn't here. He watched a bunch of the streams and participated for some of that. But he did all the stuff because I was in New York last week. Like, this was really a weird circumstances that kind of came together for me being out of town Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, get back late Friday night. Hobbypalooza starting Saturday. Ty's sending out emails to all the content creators and the links and everything. So the plan is to do this next year. Tomorrow is going to be really important. So we are going live tomorrow for On the Fly with Mike and Ty on Bench Clear here. And that's where we're going to do all of the drawings or the raffles, whatever you want to call it, for the boxes. I've got all the prize packs behind me, different things all put together, all the different boxes that I got to say thank you to Jeff and Panini for stepping up and sending us some stuff. A lot of people have asked, why didn't Topps do anything? And the answer is we tried. Topps is going through a lot of changes on their staff, including Emily, who was our contact there, part of their marketing team, head of their marketing team, actually. She went over to Golden. So we don't know the new person yet. And so that just happened to be bad timing where we couldn't really get anything done for that. So that is what it is. We're going to be giving away some SGC subs that Sports Card Nation, John Newman was happy to donate. So we'll also do a drawing for that. So much stuff. Rick, I am sorry to tell you that I will not be giving away any items from the Beast. But I mean, I'm looking through the chat right now and I'm seeing all you people, so many people that I saw on so many streams, and your support of all the different content creators. I mean, John Keating, I think he was in every single stream. He donated on the super chat in every single stream that I saw. It was absolutely unbelievable. So John, I just got to give a special thank you to you for your support. I want to run down the list of content creators. So if you didn't happen to see one, or, if I name someone that you know and like, that you can go and check them out because they were on Hobbypalooza. And not only the content creators themselves, the hosts, but we also had so many different people show up. Started with Alex, or not, we didn't start, but I'm going to go down this list. Alex Bowman 53, who had, I'm going to try to remember all these, but I don't know that I will. Nina S was on there. God, I'm already drawing a blank. I shouldn't try to do that. It's very late. It's been a long 2 days, so forgive me. But Alex had talking, vintage and awesomeness there. She blinded me with refractors. One of my best friends in the hobby, Andy, he's like a brother to me, like in every way that can be said. He means a lot to me. All of you do, but Andy's my brother. He had a surprise guest because I'm Carlos. That was a good one. Hobby Hotline kicked it all off, with a panel of like 6 or 7 people. Baseball Hall of Fame autographs, Frank with Bill. They were great. I was lucky enough to have Josh, rated rookie, with me on my stream. Jeremy, Sports Cards Live. You got to learn all about tag grading. Yeah. Retro Hoop Collectibles, Omar. What a great guy, and great 90s basketball stuff that he talked about. Then, of course, John Keating had his show talking about all the great 70s stuff that he does, with several guests that he had. Ray from Philly with Mike and Victor. That was awesome. Man, God love that guy. Lou Rock. Cardboard Podcast, of course, with Mark and Bob Lewis. And you can't say Bob without saying Bob Lewis. Why is that? Like, I don't know why you can't do that. But it was hilarious. I watched it again this morning before everything started today, because as I'm watching it during the stream, I'm like having to pay attention to different things, and I couldn't just enjoy it. And I listened to it again. It was just freaking hilarious. And everybody thinks we like don't like each other, like we do. Like, that's the whole point. It's supposed to be funny. Like, if we give each other a hard time, if we didn't give each other a hard time, that's when you should worry. Then John Newman was on again this morning, kicking it off with Sports Card Nation. Tyson, banker, one of the Bench Clear Media, as Ed calls it, the Bench Clear Empire. He definitely put on a great deal about baseball. And then we had Jason, of course, my good friend, Mr. Fisher Bike. And he had Sticks and Seams on, I believe, if I can remember right, Mike. Then you had Breakout Cards. How cool was that to be in a card show during Hobbypalooza live? I got a card gifted to me. I tried to buy some other cards, but Ryan couldn't hear me in there. I was yelling so loud. Then we had Dustin, Sports Card Dad, Joe Silver Jackify with, by the way, he had Filmington, of course, and Vince, which was great. But I'm telling you that LA Beast guy that was on his show, he has almost 3 million subs on YouTube. That's ridiculous. That's a lot of subs. That was a great stream. Of course, George Diamond Yard with Dawn and James, Elite Hunters. Ziggy No, bringing in lots of great guys, telling different stories. And then, of course, we finish it off with Mike O. One more stream I got to mention, because it was probably my favorite one of the weekend. Not that I didn't love all of them, but Scott, Reindeer Studios, that man is amazing. And, of course, Four Leaf, Eric. God, they are so awesome. And I just see that Four Leaf, Eric, who has been incredibly generous all weekend, gave another $20. Thank you so much. I got to do some tallying. I'll give the totals for all of the super chats that have come in over the weekend tomorrow. Let's just say that we're going to be able to do something really cool for Signatures for Soldiers. Great organization. It's our military who are so important. Shout out to my boy Garrett, who is currently on a ship somewhere on the ocean. But they do so much to keep us safe and sacrifice so much. And so doing something for them is really special. And I have decided that personally, I am going to double whatever we have raised this weekend for Signature for Soldiers. I'm going to personally double that. And we're going to present them a check at the National. So that is going to be great. And that's thanks to you guys. Thanks to your generosity and your willingness to support an event like this. But Scott, Reindeer Studios, of course, doing his Jackie Robinson paintings. Lots of money was given there. Those are going to be, one's going to be given away as a special raffle. The other one, Eric's going to do on a different stream. So, yeah, that's what's going on. Here's what I want to do. I want to go till maybe another 20 to 30 minutes because I'm really tired. But I don't want to go without bringing – what I want to do is I'm going to put an invite in the chat for this stream. And if you haven't gotten a chance, if you're a person that loves this event or whatever, or if you've already, if you want to just come on and I'll let you say a few things about Hobbypalooza and what you think, I'd appreciate it. I always like getting good feedback. I like getting any feedback if it's fair. Like, I don't mind negative feedback. I mean, we had some comments that were put into some of the streams, not on the live streams, but afterwards. And yeah, it was pretty negative actually. And I'm like, they don't get it. The things about like, why are you doing this? This is all long, boring stuff. I don't even know who these people are, because apparently they're Bench Clear subscribers and only watch Bench Clear. And it makes me really laugh, because they don't get it. They don't know what this community is. They don't know how this community is. And so it's kind of funny to me that they just don't get it. I'm getting texts now. Who's texting me? Dave Blue Jacket 66 is texting me. Of course, he didn't come on Hobbypalooza, but he was working. Actually, he really wanted to. He actually had a slot at one point. So even the guys that couldn't be here, it's even bigger than that. As much as you guys saw in the chat and in all the stuff, there's so much more. This community is gigantic, and you can't know everybody, but you can know somebody. And that's what I want to leave you with, is to connect with somebody, because it was Dave. No, it was Scott who was talking about it, about connecting with somebody just last hour on Miko's channel. He was talking about how the hobby went to a different gear when he was able to connect with people. I remember the first time I talked with Ray from Philly, the first time I had Dave Midlife Card Crisis at my house, and all the different people that have come over and hung out with me, and people that I truly call friends. And it's great that we share, this love of this hobby. Right. But there's a lot more commonality there than you think with other people. And I think in our world today, we need more of that. We need more people trying to reach out with an olive branch of, hey man, we're just people trying to get along and deal with high gas prices and inflation. And, but hey, guess what? We get to go to a show and have a blast and hang out. I see no one's taking me up on my offer to come into the stream, which is fine, I guess. But, man, the super chats are rolling in. Pepino, Caesar, thank you so much. $20. Hoops and Homers, $1.99. Appreciate it. Scott, man, thank you. That means a lot from Scott. Appreciate that. Sounds like it's raining here at my house. Matthew, it is raining. I mean, it is raining. I can hear it now. So if you hear that, Matthew, thank you for $10. Eric, again, thank you. Of course, one last $5. I don't even want to know how much money you've given this weekend, John, but it's greatly appreciated. Mike, oh, thank you. So, wow. Everybody's like probably in bed. They're probably in bed watching this on their television or whatever. Mike might have to sell the ranch. No, I will not. John, I'm trying to think of a super chat number that you need to give so I can go grab Norman, because he's home. I can bring Norman to make an appearance. Yeah, you see things like this, like Blue Jacket 66 should have 10,000 subscribed just based on his vintage collection alone. Yeah, no kidding. There's so many great collections. That's the thing. There are so many great collections on YouTube, absolutely, within this community, no doubt. But the better thing is there's so many great people. Oh, gosh, we have our first guest. It's my roommate. He's going to be my Uber driver for the National, my roommate for the National as well. JT, Triple Crown 24. Hey, bud.
Hey, I wanted to be your friend, man. You've got at least one friend to
I know.
me.
I'm like, nobody. I'm like, golly, I guess nobody likes me. I appreciate you having this, the pathetic, like, Mike looks so sad. So I know you love hobby. I know you had a show, right? You wanted to be here, and you actually got to be. Oh my gosh. Now I got to go get Norman. That'll do it. That will do it. the sad thing is now that I'm calling for super chats, knowing that I'm going to match all this, like I'm like, okay, I guess bring it on. I'd love to do it. It'll be a fun check to write. Hey, you talk with Mike for a second, and I'll go grab Norman. So y'all talk for a minute.
You didn't fall asleep yet, JT?
No, I mean, Mike said that everyone's just hanging out in their bed, and he's not wrong. I'm hanging out in my bed just to play some Hobbypalooza.
I probably should. I've gone to bed at about 2 a.m. 3 straight nights, so and gotten up at about 6 a.m. So I'm pretty exhausted myself. But Hobbypalooza was obviously a ton of fun, and I'm glad you not only got on one stream, you ended up being on 2 streams, and now everyone's night has been made.
Norman, John wanted to say hi. Yeah, he hadn't seen you in a few weeks. Yeah, he wanted to say hi. What do you think? You're on Hobbypalooza. He's like, I don't give a crap. I want to go back and lay down. All right, you can go. There's JT right there. Yeah. JT, you've met Norman multiple times.
I have. It's my favorite part of coming to Dallas.
I thought it was seeing my dad.
That is a. Oh man, that's pretty close.
Seeing the dog or my dad. Those are,
yes.
And you have to admit, Julie's a pretty good cook too. Like,
there's several good things about Dallas.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Mike down here, Mike and Ed to come down here.
That would be nice. Perhaps at some point. There was a plan in place to have gone to that Rangers-Phillies series, which, I'm happy I missed that because I couldn't think of more torture than perhaps going to one of those games and having the Rangers wipe the floor with them with you being there, perhaps rubbing it in. But I'd love to see the Beast and meet everyone. And, going to a Dallas show seems like it'd be a great time too.
It's funny, I'll tell you, and JT might I'm sure he actually will back me up on this. It's very different than the National. I mean, very different. There's cards, which is probably where the similarities just about end. There's no corporate presence at the Dallas show, which is actually not a bad thing necessarily. Yeah. But there's not as many of our friends there. There's a few, different people come to different shows, different Dallas shows, but it's not, it's not the same.
I would like to just compare it to something like the Philly show, like the East Coast show, because I feel like, and this is just like a random perspective without ever going there. Obviously, I know it's big. There's, tons of dealers and stuff, but I feel like it's, and you've said so, a lot of ultra modern, all that stuff. Whereas like the Philly show, East Coast, more entrenched in the old school collecting, the baseball wise a lot too. So like the Philly show is very vintage heavy. For sure. And a lot of the New York shows I've been to in the past, which has been a few years, but they always were very vintage heavy. And obviously there's vintage at the Dallas show as well, but I would like to see the comparison, kind of the different dealers.
Julie just brought me hail that's coming down outside. So that's great. Sorry.
And the National is obviously bigger by nature. So, but the corporate, all the news that comes out, the mass amount of people who show up, obviously the National is its own beast.
Let's roll. Come to Dallas. JT, what do you think the differences are? You've been to both.
The National has a lot of old, smellier pieces of cardboard and high grades that I can't afford, whereas the Dallas show has new, shinier pieces of cardboard that I can't afford in high grades. So that's the biggest difference to me. But yeah, it is a little bit. Oh, it sounds like Norman's in trouble.
No, Julie's worried about her truck that's parked outside with the hail. She's freaking out. Should I run out there and get wet and move her truck inside? That would probably be a good husbandly thing to do, wouldn't
It'd be great if it was live on Hobbypalooza too, because I feel like you get some super chats.
Yeah, if we get a $25 super chat, Mike will run outside and get the truck.
Oh my gosh, that
live! Like... Mike gets knocked out by a piece of hail on Hobbypalooza,
and y'all are just sitting here live streaming like the rest of the night. Like that would be.
Mike, do you hear us yet?
You what?
Now, do you hear us yet? When you're laying there trying to get back to consciousness,
right? I'm like, I wake up and the stream's like 12 hours long, and I'm like, what? That's pretty funny. I think it's actually slowing down a little bit outside. That's good. Move your butt, Mike, Eloy says. There's so many guys too, like Eloy. He did, 2 years ago, he did a great break for kids on Hobbypalooza. Like, I wish it was just, I could put everybody on,
Hobbypalooza 2023, 24-hour live streams, 2 days in a row, 48 hours of live streams. Someone would have to take the night shift.
Yeah, I don't
That
think
would actually be hilarious.
I could make that. Dawn says Julie drives a truck. Nice. Yes. Doesn't she, JT?
It's a pretty nice truck. It takes up most of the garage. Mike's got to pull his little car into the side. So
yeah, and I drive a car. Like, go figure. Yeah. Like, Julie's got a nice. We're GMC people, so she's got a nice little GMC. Do you guys think that this event? It's kind of a rhetorical question, but I guess maybe what do you think this brings to the community? What do you think this type of an event adds to the community?
JT, would you like to start?
I was kind of hoping you were going to start, but sure, I'll start.
I mean, I can. It's up to you.
What it adds to the community, I think. Here's my thing: is that Hobbypalooza doesn't have to be a 2-night thing. Like we are working towards a very nice cause this year, which I think is a very nice touch on the event. But a lot of what you see, a lot of the great collaborations and a lot of the great content, there is more collaborations, it seems, every single day. I'm someone who does it pretty much weekly with my podcast, and Mike puts out his. Both of you have your own podcast that you put out where you collaborate with other people. I think the hail has moved its way up to Cincinnati now. I can hear it outside.
That was quick.
Yeah, that storm's moving fast. But a lot of this, it doesn't just have to be confined to one weekend in the middle of summer. And if you go to the National, you'll meet a lot of these people who are exactly the same as you've seen here. But if you want to be involved with something like this, there are so many people out there looking to collaborate and share ideas about the hobby that it's available, at our fingertips 24/7, 365. So I think that this event is a good insight on what we have to offer, but it's only a very small glimpse. I mean, there's so much out there that goes just beyond these 2 days too. And you guys do a great job on this channel, offering a lot of great content as well. So, hey, just excited to see what comes in the future. Good luck following that one up, Mike.
I like this Grant comment. A lot of people don't get to go to the National, and we talk about it a lot about how great it is to meet your friends and all that stuff. And there's a great point. So many people don't go to the National more than do, right? I mean, we think everybody, well, why would everybody go to the National? Of course. But the reality is not very many, a low percentage of the hobby participants go to the hobby or to go to the National. And so I think that, I have to give credit. Mike, this was Miko's idea, Hobbypalooza. He and I were talking, I'll tell the story, 2 years ago in the middle of COVID. And he said, God, I wish there was something we could do to get together. Do you remember that, Mike? You're like, oh, I wish we could do something.
It was a long time ago. I mean, maybe bits and pieces.
He said
2020 was a wacky year.
It was. And I said, dude, we should do that. And I think within 8 hours, I had the whole idea fleshed out and people invited and slots being filled and all that kind of stuff. And Ty was on board to do it, back then, in the first 2 years, it was on individual channels, and that was a lot different. It was a lot harder, actually, believe it or not. It's a lot easier now, but that was your idea, man. So this gives people a chance, and we did it because there was no National. And I can't miss hanging out with my friends. That's not going to happen. And so this was that was an alternative originally. Now it's becoming that, yes, the people that are going to National can hang out, and those that can't can feel what it feels like, at least a little bit virtually this way. Do you agree?
I think sadly, like real life, sometimes we get caught up. We're busy. You're on to the next thing. You got that endless list of things you have to take care of, things you have to do. You're caught up and stuff. And when you have an event actually scheduled, it gives you a reason to pause and think about it and be like, you know what? I got to hang out with. So I think that's what that can do. And that's what this can do now. And it kind of brings attention. And, I agree with you. It's great to hang out, and it's great to have that chance to hang out. And like, having it on your own channel is cool in a way because you can literally control everything, do whatever you want. But having it on Bench Clear is cool too because you can set it up. You make, someone like you sit there and do 25 hours worth of work. Well, I don't have to do a thing. That part's kind of fun. But no, in all seriousness, it's a different audience to a degree because like YouTube has evolved and changed just like the hobby. Different things bring in different views, different subscribers. Sometimes channels take off, sometimes they don't, and they become a little more stagnant. And some of that is like your own choice. Like me, I don't have as much time to put out as many videos or different videos, or I'm not even interested at this point in time in putting out videos that are going to bring in new audience. I just want to put out what I want to put out, or I feel like I should put out. And I'm going to do my videos with just showing off my Phillies stuff. Like I'll show off cards like this, a Sandy Koufax autographed Allen and Ginter card, which is unbelievably awesome.
Oh, just bring out a banger. Fine.
I will also pick up a Terry Mulholland card, like just a goofy oddball card that costs you 99 cents. That's the type of thing JT would sell in his store, the lower end thing. But the reality is like, that's what a lot of people collect. More people will buy a card like this than will buy the Koufax because it's $1 card as opposed to probably like a $500 card. So, but
I got another guest here to bring on.
Showing off that Mulholland card isn't going to excite everyone, but it'll excite some. There's people like Bowman 53 who will be excited because he sees Terry Mulholland because he has a meaning to him. And I think using this Hobbypalooza to expose other people, I always try and bring on a few people, and I like always have thoughts. I'm like, oh, I'd love to bring on this person, and then I look and I'm like, you know what? I'd like to bring on some of the people who are good friends of mine, but also don't have that massive following, and it exposes them to some people. They get some, even if it's just a handful of subscribers, and I think it's a great event. It was a blast, ton of fun.
Yeah, Caesar exposes himself to a lot of people. So
yes, he does. Bench Clear could get thrown off.
We did get a copyright strike for his butt cheeks. Apparently, they're copyrighted. I didn't know. Like, did y'all know that? I did not know. We have another person joining us. It's my friend Tom Cooter-Lev here on YouTube. Doesn't do content actually, but definitely a member. And that's another part and aspect of this community is you don't just have to make content to enjoy the community, enjoy what it brings to you. Tom, how would you say that's changed you and your collecting?
Well, I think you just took away what I was getting on to talk about, or segued me beautifully. No, I don't do content. And if you think about it, card collecting is a very solitary activity. A lot of us do it on our own. Our families aren't part of it, or we don't have that person in the hobby or the network local. And seeing the content creators, it has been wonderful, reconnecting with the hobby to see the videos and such, but it's one way. This has really allowed sort of a two-way dialogue for people who aren't the content creators, who don't have the network of buds that they see on a regular basis to talk about the hobby. I mean, my world is here, and in the middle of Oklahoma, and my family doesn't participate in the hobby since I lost my brother, and so now my hobby participation has really been enriched by knowing you, Mike, and John, and Bo, 1 Million Cubs, that I've got to know really through the chats. But with Hobbypalooza, it's been a great opportunity to meet and speak with other folks that we didn't have exposure to. I'd never watched Pepino Man. I don't know if I want to watch him again, but I'm probably won't be able to turn it off. But again, it's a great. I mean, like I said earlier in one of my comments, my wife is really upset with me because I've spent the weekend out here just because I couldn't turn it off because I was afraid I was going to miss something that I didn't know about, that I hadn't learned about in 40 years of collecting, or miss someone's view of the hobby from anywhere from anybody who collects solely new to raw, to graded tobacco. I mean, it runs the gamut, but you're right. We're all one community on this platform, And thank you for putting this together so we do have this venue.
Well, you're welcome, Tom. I've had the pleasure of seeing you several times, and I think you've met JT too, maybe at one of the Dallas shows.
Yeah, I've been at the Dallas show.
But yeah, thank you for being a part of it, and you got to make your YouTube debut, I guess.
Yes, and I was getting all the critiques from the family, so I'm supposed to smile anytime I go on camera more because my wife is like, "You just look like Grumpy Cam." So, I'm not a grumpy person, but I do appreciate you guys allowing me on and really enjoyed this weekend.
You bet, Tom. I appreciate it.
Have a good one.
All right. You want me to hang up on you?
Don't care. I'll hang out.
You can hang out then. Okay, great. So Tom's one of those guys we met at a Dallas show. He reached out through Instagram. He had listened to the podcast. Is that right, Tom? And then, which is great, and he's blessed me with some cards. I was able to get some stuff that his brother, who happened to be named Mike, and he's the one I got my Roger Maris autograph from on my 62 Topps card that I love. It says to Mike, and Tom just knew, like, you're Mike. You would love, like, this is it. And I said I needed a Roger Maris or something, or he heard it. And it just, those are the connections that are so cool, right? To draw those lines and connect those dots. Mike O, you probably have tons of stories like that. JT has stories. JT calls me at every show. All right, Mike, I found this. I looked on he has my registry information. He can log on to my PS. Like, I don't trust many people with a lot of stuff. JT can log on to my PSA and see what I have. He can look on my VCP, all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, dude, if you see there, he's logged on to my registry right now. And he'll call and say, hey, I found this. Do I see that you need it. And we'll kind of go back and forth, and he'll negotiate on my behalf. It's great when you have people like that. And you're right, John. I do trust you with Norman about as far as I could throw you. But do y'all agree that those dots don't get connected without a platform like this? Not necessarily Hobbypalooza, but just YouTube in general. It's just such a great. Facebook is, there's different ways to do that in the world, but this is a special one, don't you guys think?
It definitely connects you, because otherwise you'd be at a show and you'd see someone, whether they're set up or someone else, looking to add stuff to their collection. And I've had it with some local shows, and you see someone you recognize and say, hey, you might chat for 5 minutes, and then you're not going to see them to the next show. Whereas YouTube, you keep seeing people, you see what they're picking up. You can see their collection evolve. You can see how they evolve as a collector and, a member of the community. So all that's really cool. And I think it absolutely brings people together a lot. And I mean, it's fun. It's just a fun platform. It's fun to make some videos. It's fun to watch people's videos. Obviously, it's time consuming too, and you can't maybe necessarily do it every day. It's hard to watch all 24 hours of these live streams. I will go back and watch them all. I probably watched about half of them, and the next few days, that's what I'm going to be listening to and watching, any of the ones I missed. So it's a lot of fun.
Mike, you talked about the Maris card. You mentioned that on one of your videos on YouTube, that you didn't have a Maris autograph. And that's when I reached out to you. And the interesting thing was I don't know if you remember that first conversation. I was talking about how I was really trying to get reconnected with the hobby and building sets. And I was telling Mike that, we used to have great card stores around here. And I'm like, unfortunately, we don't have good card stores in this area anymore. And Mike's like, dude, you've got one of the best card stores in the country, just 20 miles from you. I'd never heard of it. I've driven by it literally for, 2 years, not knowing it was there. And based on that, I mean, that's where it really propelled sort of my set run, was taking Mike's recommendation, going down and building a relationship with that LCS that Mike's talked about numerous times on his channel. And that took my MM7. And I guess I should have wore their hat. It's right over there. But that really took the scope of my collection to a new level, that I'd probably still be sitting out here ignorant of that, resource had I not made the connection to Mike, I guess last fall.
JT, anything to add on that topic of the connection piece?
I think YouTube is more intimate. I'm sure John will have a field day with that word, but it's a more intimate platform than say a Facebook or an Instagram. To give an example, I did a giveaway on Twitter, which I don't normally do.
Now, okay, intimate.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I did a giveaway on Twitter where I asked people to tell me a card that meant something to them, and they gave me stories, which was cool. And I'm not trying to take away anything from that, but it's different on YouTube because with anything in life, it's difficult to get emotion out of text. It's difficult to see passion in text. But with the video element, you just get more. You see facial expressions a lot of times. Egg, you must just be tuning in, man, because it's been like 24 hours of weirdness now. But
no, Egg's been in several. Yeah, he's been in several of them.
You got to be paying attention, man. This has been weird from the beginning, but it's just more when you can see someone and hear, the inflection in their voice, or to see kind of get that visual. I know that there's pictures too, but I feel like video allows you to kind of have it encapsulated in just the way that YouTube is structured, to have it all kind of put together in like a video library for you to kind of go back and watch is cool to see. And it's also cool, just go back and watch it. Like there's some times where some of my really good friends, I'll go back and watch old videos and you'll laugh at some comment they made back then, like, oh, Mike, what an idiot. If only he knew 6 months ago that this card was going to double in value and now he's going to have to pay double to complete his set registry. Or, man, Mike is probably pretty glad that he picked up that Bryce Harper image variation when he did, because now the cheapest one on eBay is $500. So you get those kind of things that you can go back to. It's just cool to see. I know that's a lot of different thoughts all at once.
It's even fun watching like an old box break, and it's like, oh, that's like $100 card, and they just like we're like, yeah, disappointing. I got this card or something.
Okay, I've got to ask Greg. I think I met Greg at MM7. He was there at the card shop, and I was with my wife and my hopeful future son-in-law. He's dating Jessica. And he came up to me and said, "Are you a baseball collector?" And I said, "Yes." And he goes, "I watch your stuff." And we talked vintage for a while. And I mean, it was, so I think that's Greg. He'll confirm it in a second. The stuff like that's just so cool when it happens. Were you going to say something, Tom? I'm sorry if I interrupted you.
Yeah, no, I just to that point, I think one of the great things about this is, everybody has their lane and respects everyone else's lane. And when you see it and you hear the passion that people talk about their niche of the hobby that they focus on and have that passion about, you don't look down your nose on somebody who can't afford the high end graded cards, or someone who's just collecting out of the dollar boxes. So I think it's a great opportunity to make those people that sometimes we get focused so much in life on interacting with people who think just like us. We watch TV stations of people who comment just like us. We go to, social events with people who think just like us. This is one I've been really intrigued by is just how broad the hobby is, and how something event like this, no matter what side of the political equation or, anything, we can all come together because we do enjoy the hobby and everybody respects everyone else's passion. So I've been very pleased with that.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're absolutely putting yourself out there more when you're making videos. And like JT said, like the emotion behind when someone's really excited to show off a card, or when a card really has meaning. I mean, there's obviously the more corporate channels, it's, showing off what's hottest or whatever, and kind of went over that a little bit in my live stream. But it's like, this is a $6,000 card. But there's not real excitement. Like when there's actual true excitement because the cards mean something, like that to me is what is most entertaining, whether it's completing a set or picking up a card that someone's dreamed of for 5, 10, 20 years, or if it's, just picking up something cheap that connects to something from their childhood or something to a family member. And like, you can actually hear that in the voices. And that's what, the passion for the hobby, passion for collecting is what really shows off on YouTube, as opposed to an Instagram or Twitter, even the forums. Like the forums, you can gain a lot of knowledge and there's a lot of good reading, but it's still all text based. And there's only so many people who, of course, are going to contribute to that. Twitter, obviously, you can get breaking news and a lot of information. Like Instagram's the most popular. There's no doubt about it. I personally just can't get into it. Like I'll post stuff on occasion and I'll flip through it on occasion, but I can't. It just doesn't do it for me as much. I mean, I see cool pictures of cards, but I'm not getting the story behind that card as much, or I'm not getting the emotion behind that card.
Yeah, if you go back to John's session and you listen to Diego talk about his 84 Fleer Ryan Sandberg and listen to the passion in his voice, I'd much rather listen to someone talk about, an 84 Fleer than a PSA 10 of any modern card, not to discount modern cards, but I'm just saying, people who put the passion into what that card means, not necessarily what the grade is and what their opportunity is to flip it or hold it for some period of time.
Totally agree. And the stories behind it are always like Mike said, it's the best part of watching a YouTube video. And it's funny how you've got this dichotomy within the YouTube viewership. It's like some people just dig on the stories like me. And then there's other people that are basically like, leave a comment, like, shut up and just show the cards. And I'm like, move on, please. Like, you're not for my channel. Like if that's what you're into, I'm not your guy. You're going to be real bored real quick.
If you want to look at cards, go scroll eBay listings.
Oh, here's my daughter.
Guest appearance.
My daughter brought me ice cream, melted, but it's still no.
It's M&M.
M&M ice cream.
Thank you. And for those of you who don't live within the central part of the United States, you don't get Brahms ice cream. I feel for you. That is the best ice cream.
Brahms, man. Brahms.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from Tuttle, Oklahoma.
They're missing out, right?
They are, and the hamburgers are good, and it's a great company. But they won't deliver anywhere or set up a store that their drivers can't be home in the evenings to be with their family.
Oh man. So. No, I'm missing out.
Well, I guess I'll have to get some when I eventually get to Dallas sometime in the next 3 months to 3 years, whenever it happens.
Boy,
I'd put it above John's In-N-Out Burger any day.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm going to go finish my ice cream and then go to bed and clean up all this mess. Thank you guys, JT, Mike, Tom, for coming on here with me and just sharing what your thoughts are. To everyone out there, man, we had, I think it's pushing 14,000 views over the weekend on the streams, which is pretty insane. And really appreciate everybody supporting the cause, obviously, and doing everything with that. So I'm going to let you guys out of here and let you all go to bed too. I know you're tired too. And thank you for participating, guys.
You got it.
All right.
Can I
go
say
eat some ice cream? What's that, JT?
Can I be the one who gets to say it?
Yeah, of course you can.
Keep collecting.
You're dang right.
Exactly.